Hello and welcome to Off Script. I'm James. I run a digital consultancy making beautiful software with a real focus on AI and IoT. On this podcast episode, we're going to be talking about why paid awards are absolute bollocks. And I'll let Josh introduce himself.
Working title. Yeah. Yeah. So thanks, James. Yeah. So I'm Josh, a CTO at Genio and a software consultant of many years. So we're going to talk about paid awards, and this was off the back of a really fucking annoying situation that happened recently, where some of the team were basically nominated for an award, and they were going to go to the ceremony. And the organisers came back and said, "That's great. We'd love to have you there. A table starts at 10K or something like that."
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. And it's really unfair on the person who's obviously gone out on a limb and told people and felt quite excited and been like, I'm proud of this, to only then be slapped with, it's a money grab. And that is quite a fall, right? That doesn't feel very nice for anyone involved.
Yeah. Yeah. And like this is not about, the people being nominated obviously are well deserved in these categories,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so the thing that triggered this was there's an award called the Women in Tech Excellence Awards, and they have like loads of different packages with tables and champagne and all that sort of stuff. And these things are fine, right? Like awards with tables and like booze and entertainment are great. That's not really the problem. The problem is the sort of pricing of those categories and expecting nominees to pay for, like, they're sort of the products, aren't they? In this scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd very least get like a free ticket or two, and yeah, fine. Someone, if you want to bring the rest of your team, they pay for sure. But it feels like this particular one you're talking about didn't really have that sort of option on the table, at least at first.
No, not really. There are some awards that do it really well. So like nominees get free attendance, and then like guests, you can pay a nominal fee to ensure that it covers like the food and drink and stuff. But yeah, it sort of felt icky to me. It felt like quite exploitative. These awards claim to be allies and sort of inclusive ambassadors and try and like really represent those communities, but it feels like they're just trying to make quite a lot of money from them, and it just felt really wrong.
Yeah, that is a shame. And as an event organizer ourselves, like you were very keen to keep costs low on even like the conference and stuff. And like for the numbers that you mentioned in the post that you did are pretty eye watering. It's not like a few £100 here and there, is it? It's like thousands and thousands of pounds.
Yeah, I mean, like, what was it? The platinum package with platinum seating, which is you sit roughly 10 meters closer to the stage than the other people, is $8,500 for a table. So yeah, the economics of it don't really add up to me.
I think the other problem is that when you see companies bandishing those awards and stuff as well, like not necessarily the Women in Excellence in Tech one, but like others, like anyone can be an award-winning agency if they've got $5,000 in the back pocket or 10 grand or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas, funnily enough, we did actually win Agency of the Year for Webflow, because we do a lot of Webflow stuff, so our engineering team can focus on engineering problems rather than content wrangling. But yeah, they're over in New York at the moment. But yeah, nothing like, there's no pay to play. There's no like, we're up against some reputable people, and it's judged fully. And we didn't bribe anyone, I promise. And
Yeah,
so,
well, congratulations. Yeah, I mean, getting an award that you didn't bribe someone for is an accolade.
but then if you stick it on your website, people aren't going to know, are they? They'll be like, oh, they've just paid Webflow for that or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, like, it's important, right? Awards are important. That external validation of like the energy and effort you've put into something is really important. And they should be a good thing. Like, it should be a thing where your hard work's recognized. But like when the community isn't put first, and when the sort of, I think there's a thing where even you paid for the digital graphic that you could put on LinkedIn was paid for. And I just think, like, if you're monetizing stuff like that, it's absolutely insane. Like, I can't believe you're charging for a little badge that you'll put on LinkedIn. That's just insane. I can't get my head around it.
Yeah, no, it's upsetting. And yeah, where does that money really go? Does it support people that it intends to? Is it just going into the machine? I don't know who runs some of these events, but yeah, it's not good
Yeah.
luck.
No, and like, the problem is it works because people pay to go, because the sort of FOMO of not going is almost feels like you've not achieved something. So like, I sort of wrote a little bit about this, but there's a lot around the psychology of it in terms of the scarcity and exclusivity awards, and how it's almost like a status economy where you sort of, as you said, if you buy the award, it feels like it's well earned. And yeah, that social proof aspect where you're sort of going, I did a thing, and I'm actually good at this because it's been validated externally. Which again, in the sort of general scheme of awards, isn't bad, but when you know that you've paid a lot of money for it, or it's just weird, isn't it?
Yeah, and how do you think you could fix that? It's not for us to fix, right? But is there other ways that we could reward people without having like big fancy do's and champagne and stuff? Because I feel like maybe that old world is slightly changing a bit now.
Mm.
And we felt the pinch definitely in physical events. Like, is it, how do you recognize stuff without having to put on a big do and fancy buffet?
I guess it's like you got to get into the minds of the decision makers that are sort of sponsoring this sort of stuff. So in larger companies, I guess historically awards like this, or like it's time to celebrate with your peers or other leaders in spaces. Like I understand why it sort of works. It's nice to get your black tie sort of stuff on and go and celebrate. But equally, I think when that's in contrast with you immediately signing off an 8.5 grand table versus reluctantly like underfunding things like minority initiatives or inclusivity initiatives I don't understand why it's not seen like it's from the same pot of money, because it sort of is. And it just feels like the first approach is to to call it out, which I guess is what we're doing, but also like boycott them a little bit, and not prove that the business model that they're working with actually works.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Calling it out's a big thing, and yeah, I know that now neither of us are in the running for the male equivalent of these awards. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like complete bollocks, doesn't it? Like, it's just
Yeah, I'm happy to be on their shit list. It's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
I quite like things like Northern Tech 100 and things like that because they're purely numbers based. So
Mm.
you can't hide your P&L. They do it based on company growth. Um, I think there's been some question marks potentially a little bit around like the prolific North lists and stuff, but they do have a third party company called Mustard that come in and do that. So they, yeah, they've kind of tried to explain their algorithm for that listing table, but it doesn't
Mm.
always work out perfectly because, yeah,
I
various
think,
reasons. But I think that they're kind of all right, but they don't obviously reward individual contribution.
yeah, but you're right though. Like, there's merit to the transparency, right? As you said, if there's explainability in like, this is how the leaderboard looks and this is why, especially if it's on financial performance, it's dead easy, right? But yeah, I just feel like more transparency is needed. It's like, I imagine if you pay 8.5 grand for a table, there's going to be a situation where you'll probably find yourself winning an award, and that shouldn't really be the way it is, right?
Yeah, or if you sponsor, you get an award named after whatever you want, and then it happens to be you that wins it or something. I mean,
Yeah.
I think event organizers are maybe becoming a little bit more self-aware because that's not quite as blatant as it once was, maybe.
Mm.
But
I,
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It's just like the corporate nature of these things, isn't it? It's just like, I don't know. I understand that these things are really hard to put on and are costly to put on, and depending on the location, you've got to make like a bit of a profit or something. But I just think when it's, if there's a table of 10 for 8.5K, is it really 850 quid a head? Like, what are you? That's just, to me, quite nuts when you're looking at the underfunding. It's been really tough in recent years on businesses, big and small. And I just think is that really the right place to be spending that sort of cash? Like, you could literally create an entire like apprenticeship or internship or mentorship initiative for $1,000 or something. And yeah, it just feels like it's completely warped. Like the perception of value is completely warped.
Yeah, definitely. And especially if a company or an individual feels like they could do with that boost, and they've had obviously the email through or whatever, and like they could do the promotion, you can see why it works. That's the annoying thing.
Mm.
They go, on balance, I'll just pay the 8 grand.
Yeah.
But that's fairly disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, if I was going to be really skeptical, I'd say maybe there's like a group of, 10 to 20 companies that consistently go to specific events like this as a way of showing they care about inclusivity and, really representing women in tech. And that's sort of their tick box done, right? We care about it. We fund the awards. We make sure that people are recognized. And that's, is that good? Is it good? I don't know. Like, is it better than nothing?
Yeah, it's better than nothing, but it is virtue signaling more cash behind it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the sort of ickiness of it all. It's like, well, I guess it's better than nothing, but it's still pretty dire, you know. But yeah, so yeah, not really a positive one. Sorry, but it did really piss me off. I was just so infuriated. Where like you've got quite a significant amounts of money being thrown around, and the community that it claims to represent just is not benefiting in the right way. It just felt really shit. So yeah, I just think the closing note for me is like, just think about how you're spending that money. If you're a decision maker who's in charge of budgets like this, like really question whether these sort of investments are worth what they're claiming to deliver, and also look at how a reallocation of those investments could be really good elsewhere. Like fund that apprenticeship scheme, like, fund maybe a sort of group that you're happy to put some money behind that, first of all, is chaired by those minorities and really represents that group, but also just like think about before you just pay those invoices for these sort of chunky things. Think about it.
That's a really good call to action, and thanks for sharing your rant and thoughts. I think, yeah, definitely worth calling out. So, yeah, thanks for listening to today's episode of Off Script. Hit subscribe, find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you get your podcasts. And thank you very much, Josh, and see you all next time.
Cool. Cheers, James. See ya.
Cheers.